Welcome back in live to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today we are pounding out a 2022 NFL mock draft for the Dallas Cowboys. Today we are joined by Noah Rockoff, the person who really got me into the NFL draft, scouting players. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. Unfortunately, we're going to fire this one up, get a lot of insight from Rock on what the Cowboys need. Rock, I'm going to kick it over to you. What are we looking for as we start this draft up?
First thing's definitely got to be interior offensive line. I mean, I don't know what Connor Williams was doing against DJ Jones, but
He was holding.
He was holding 11. I think it was 11 penalties all year in terms of holding penalties. Unacceptable. So first things first is got to hit that offensive line.
Yeah, we're going to look who falls. I mean, like if a Linderbaum falls, I mean, I know you got Biotic, who I don't hate at center, but I mean, the value would be, oh my God, if he falls.
If he falls.
He falls.
He falls. I mean, that's got to be the pick immediately.
I think so too. Dude, Nakobe Dean's there too. I mean, you got
Micah. Those are the two players that like 1 and 2, and then maybe Kenyon Green 3 are the three people I'm looking at.
Yeah, if Kenyon Green falls, because I think he can be a tackle in the league, but you'll stick him in at guard right now, and when I'm blanking on that left tackle. Golly, Tyron Smith, the guy Dill hates. Tyron Smith leaves. Kenyon Green certainly can do it, but I think Tyler Linderbaum is he's the best interior lineman prospect we have. We saw how good Creed Humphrey's been with Kansas City. Their games remind me a lot of each other, and I think Linderbaum's just a pick. I mean, the dude
he's a much better prospect, I think, than.
Oh my God, he's so good. I thought it was like a little bit of hype. Like, oh my God, this guy, 300 pounds, he can't be like that dominant. Like, he's that good.
He reminded me of like in terms of domination. Like, I don't know if you remember Joe Grain from Pittsburgh, like the center back in high school. He's like that kind of domination, but in the college level. I mean,
the kid who went to Princeton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just insane. I've never seen anything like it from the center position.
Yeah, especially in the big time where you're going up against some solid guys up front. Yeah, so we addressed the interior line at that first pick. Darian Kennard would have been a nice pick. If you go like Nakobe Dean first and get Kennard in the second and he's not a tackle. Don't even try him at tackle. I think he's got just not quick enough feet for that. But you throw him inside, I think he's going to be a really good guard in the NFL.
I don't even know if it was a conditioning issue for him this year, but the one game that I saw any sort of passion from him was unfortunately after his like offensive line coach passed away. And that's when you actually saw him get off the ball a little bit, move his feet. But I mean, some of his tape is brutal.
What's a tale? It's a tale of two cities. Like sometimes it's like, oh my God, this guy's dominating, and PFF grades him as like the best run blocker in the country, and you see it on the film. But then sometimes it's like, dude, what are you like? Are you just tired?
Right. No, it's brutal. But I mean, in terms of the Cowboys right here, I love Drake Jackson. And he can step in and kind of take over right for like the Michael Gallup if he leaves this year. I don't know.
No, this is the edge from USC, not Drake.
Oh my God. I'm talking about.
I've done that too. Yeah. I've done that too. So I don't like Drake Jackson's film. I was surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah, no. I mean, we do kind of need an edge rusher depending on Randy Gregory. But here, again, I'd rather go wide receiver round 2.
John Dotson's juicy,
back with Darian Kendrick. Yeah, exactly.
You're probably not getting Gallup back.
No, Cedric Wilson's probably gone. He played way too well for us to re-sign him. Noah Brown's a free agent. Just way too many people to pay if we're trying to pay Dalton Schultz, Randy Gregory. Just depends on where they have like the hierarchy on our free agents. But
Jahan Dotson, I think he's so we did a wide receiver ranks video, and we had like the top 5 guys. Wilson, Olave, Williams. I think he's still a top guy even with the ACL. Drake London and Treylon Burks. I think Dotson's right up there. I mean, the dude's ability to separate from anywhere in the field to win down the field is incredible. I would love to see defenses try to guard Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, it always looks good on paper with the Cowboys. It's just about the execution.
I think Jahan Dotson's the pick. How are you feeling about that?
No, I'm totally fine with that. It's not really a question. I wanted to get offensive line, wide receiver off the board.
And I love some linebackers in that like late day 3, early day 4 range. There's some really, we just did a linebacker prospects video. Brandon Smith's still there. If Brandon
Oh, the
Smith's like
line, yeah,
there, like I would consider trading up for him, pair him up, get him back with his buddy Micah Parsons. Brandon Smith's film isn't great this year. Obviously, all the physical tools in the toolbook, or I should say, tool shed. His film just like he sees the game so slowly. I don't think he's that physical, but the
yeah,
length and speed is phenomenal. I mean, we're not gonna do any trades for this mock just because it's
right.
too early just to start firing trades. He goes off the board, but
And I mean, in
man,
terms of the linebacker we're kind of looking for, Leighton's going to be gone after this year.
yeah.
Darian Beavers, I mean, someone who can kind of stack and shed, be that on the ball linebacker and kind of take over for where Leighton left off. That'd be a good young guy to put right in there. So I don't hate that pick, but I don't know if he's on the board.
I don't know. He is on the board right here. I don't know if you've seen any Channing Tindall, and he's a guy who is he's up in this PFM's ranks too.
Mhm.
Didn't start most of the year this year. He's kind of was Quay Walker,
Yeah,
Quay Walker's understudy, if you will. This dude's gonna run a 4.40. Like he
yeah.
absolutely flies. Watching him get out to the flat and tackle the ball carry is incredible. Talk about sideline to sideline speed. He's gonna probably run the fastest 40 out of the linebackers. Um,
Hey, he
I'm,
takes coaching well. Saw that in the Kobe Dean in the championship game.
yes,
That was one of my favorite plays I've ever seen.
and
Was that kind of coaching up, and
and then the
he
next
responded
play
well.
makes a big time play.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, dude, I love this dude, and he's like the modern linebacker. You got to have linebackers who can play in space,
Yeah.
um, get out to the flat with running backs, tackle in space, and Channing Tindall's that dude, and he's big. He's like 235. Like he's not like a
He
small
looks
linebacker.
long too. Like I don't know what it was. He's got like long arms. It
Yeah,
was impressive, like physically for sure.
I think this would be a great pick. And then him and Jabril Cox hopefully can
Yeah, right.
progress together. But Channing Tindall adding to that linebacker depth, and I think this guy could be a legit stud.
Yeah.
Um,
And
let's go
any player from a winning program is what we need right now. Because I
facts.
don't know if it's a
Yeah,
locker room thing, but it just seems like right when we get to the playoffs, all the confidence flies out the window. I mean, you saw
yeah,
with that first drive, like the 49ers like stuffed it down our throat.
yeah.
One of the worst drives I've seen all year, and that can't happen the first round of the playoffs. So the linebacker can kind of like put their nose on the football,
Oh, I love
get
Channing
sideline to
Tindall, man.
sideline and get it going.
There's like we'll pause real quick because there's a bunch of guys I love. I like Damone Clark. He didn't necessarily make my top five. Jacoby McLean didn't either, but I like his game. And Leo Chenal is a sleeper who he's 260 pounds, and so yeah, he
Mm,
might not have the range that Channing Tindall has in terms of sideline to sideline speed. But like when it talks about like in between the tackles, just absolutely taking on blocks and making tackles.
yeah.
17 tackles for loss, over 100 tackles at Wisconsin. I love his game, but I have a little preference towards the faster linebackers who can
Yeah, I
play in
thought you were gonna point
space.
out JoJo in terms of fast linebackers.
Yeah, he played
I
like
mean,
nickel for Nebraska like all
yeah,
this year. He's an interesting guy. I
yeah,
just
and that, I
prefer.
mean, for the Cowboys, that's someone who could replace what's his name? Curse for us if we can't re-sign him.
Oh, you should
I
try
mean,
to get him back though.
he
He's
was
been
a
good.
stud for us this
I
year.
liked his
So
game. Yeah.
kind of play that nickel position, play down in the box, and kind of roam around the field a little bit.
All right, 126. Let's go back to this big board. We kind of this is a solid haul so far. We're addressing Thayer Munford would have been a decent get in
Ah,
terms of
no,
value. I
I
know
don't want
you
a
and Dill
single
don't
Ohio
like him.
State freaking lineman.
Um, let's check the big board here. Nothing's jumping out to me. Chris Hinton just did not put together. I thought he should have maybe came back to Michigan.
Yeah, Smoke Monday.
Smoke Monday's interesting. I just feel like he's a little bit of a headhunter and
Yeah,
like not as much like discipline as I'd like to see. And you guys like that's been a something that's a double-edged sword a little bit. Like you guys play in a very aggressive brand of defense, and you've had a ton of turnovers.
yeah, yeah.
Also, you kind of sometimes give up some explosives, specifically Trevon Diggs. I don't think Smoke Monday would necessarily help. Would help that, but I do like his
Right.
game in terms of the physicality. There's some like offensive tackles and guards that I like in this
Is that
range.
Salier still on the board? Or is
Yeah,
he
I
out?
he is, and I love his game.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm shocked he's on the board this far.
we can
Down.
go. I'm. You want to go get him? I'm perfectly
Yeah,
fine with reaching for him. Jamari Salyer played left tackle at Georgia and was very good. I mean, he plays at the highest level in the SEC. Very good every week. That being said, he's 6'4", 325, has a little bit of that squattier body. I don't know if he has that tackle length, kind of like
Right.
Kenyon Green. Um, I think he'll be a dynamite guard,
Yeah. I mean, he'll take over right for where Connor Williams left off. If
and
we
he's
can
so
secure
consistent.
Linderbaum and then Salier 1-2.
And you can get
Yeah.
that running game back. Cause I think Dak needs that. He needs a little play action in his game.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I know like Dill, he said that he's more of an athlete than like Zion Johnson. I didn't see that on tape.
You're
I
talking about
thought,
Jamari Salyer?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Zion can actually play tackle. I don't think Salier could hold up at the tackle position in the NFL. But not really what we're looking for right now.
I kind of agree. Salyer, and he doesn't have like again, it's like the bend, the squattier body, the length is a problem, but like he's technically just very stout. Like
Yeah.
and I would like to see him try, but in terms of you guys, like you put him in at guard, take over for Connor Williams, and it's just that's gonna be just a solid interior line. Pair him up with Tyler Linderbaum, and then
Right.
after, if you want to give him a shot after Tyrone Smith's gone, uh,
Yeah.
give
Hopefully
him a
not
shot.
soon. I really don't know what I'd do without Tyron. He was one of the guys that really got me into the draft process. So
He's a
it's
dog.
gonna be
He's
tough
been
to see him
so
go.
good for so long. All right, 142. Any like either prospects you really like slash like positions that we could maybe shore up from a depth standpoint? Obviously, late fourth round, we're looking more for depths or guys that you
Right.
think are diamonds in the rough. Anyone standing out to you right now?
Let me see.
Derek King? Just kidding. It's horrible.
Watch your mouth. Come on now. I mean, it's really dependent on where we go in free agency because right here, I'd say tight end would be an option because
Take a
I
look at
mean,
that.
if Dalton Schultz is gone and Blake Jarwin's our only standing tight end, we really don't have a great blocking tight end, even if Schultz stays. It's kind of a bigger bodied tight end that we can kind of use in the passing game down the seams would be kind of interesting.
I hate Charlie Kohler though. I just think
I know.
he's
I
just
was
so
so excited
big.
for him coming into this year.
And just like there's just nothing to get besides like being big and making contested catches. Like he's just not fast. He's not athletic. He's not a matchup nightmare. Besides just being big, like that's
Yeah,
all. He's like I'm a basketball player, big guy,
exactly.
and like I just that doesn't excite me that much. Greg Dulcich, on the other hand, I really like from UCLA. He's much more of like pair up the size, but also very good speed. He's hit some phenomenal explosives for that UCLA offense. Just a little rich for him now. So we'll go back to this big board here.
I mean, is this the worst tight end class we've seen in a hot minute? Or
Yeah,
no?
it's not good. It's not good. Trey McBride, I think, is people's one. Jalen
Yeah,
Wademeyer, but none of them really had a breakout year. In fact, I think most of the tight ends in this class, besides Trey McBride, hurt themselves this year.
right.
Um, Jalen
Um,
Wademeyer, especially. I'm not. I'm not a Wademeyer guy.
and not a Watermeyer guy. See, I would say safety.
Take a look at the safeties.
Just check it out.
Tyke Smith didn't play at all for the safety class. We'll talk about that really quick. There's a ton of good safeties coming back to school. Brandon Joseph transfers in Notre Dame and stays. Jordan Battle goes back to school. I thought he could have been a first round pick.
Catalan.
And Jalen Catalon from Arkansas. Yeah, he was the
I was
third guy we
pissed.
talked about.
I was pissed
All
about
really
him.
good safeties who decided to stay. Um, let's look at this defensive line. I think you can never get enough like depth.
Right.
Oh, Josh Pascal, man. I sent
Yeah,
you a
that's
bunch
that
of
boy.
videos of him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this dude, he's like kind of a tweener. I'm gonna take him. He's a little bit of a tweener. In terms of like maybe a little bit stiff and big for a DN spot, but a little bit undersized to kick him inside. But man, his get off is freaky for being 280 pounds. Plays very, very hard. Has some violent hands.
Yeah, that
Penetrates
one,
really well.
the couple games I watched of his, like the effort was the biggest thing that stood out, and that's what you need. It's
I'll
so
tell you his backstory, and obviously I was like an honorary Kentucky fan for a couple of years. Not really sure why.
right.
Dude is 4-star recruit out of high school, one of Kentucky's bigger recruits they've had in a while. Gets leukemia, misses a whole season, comes back, and he's a two-time captain for this team, and really like credited with kind of changing that team around and consistently winning in the SEC has been something that he's brought to that program. And if you're looking for a high character guy, like he's your
Yeah.
guy, and you know you're
Right.
speaking to that effort you talked about. He's gonna bring you that effort consistently. So I like him. I think that's a good pick. Leo Chenal's
Charleston
still on the
Rambo.
board.
That's funny. Right before us. I mean, I remember him at Oklahoma, right? He's at Oklahoma before he
Yep,
went to
yep,
Miami.
yep.
I thought he was gonna be good, but I mean, Derek King kind of ruined
He
his.
was actually pretty good though. But you're right. Like the turnover, Derek King goes out and they go to the Van Dyke, who I think was a either true or redshirt freshman. He's still a solid possession receiver.
Mhm.
Decent size, good route runner. Like that's a fair pick. I wouldn't have been mad if we took him there. Obviously not available for us. Trying to think of some other guys that I really, really like here. I mean, Leo Chanel's a guy. We did get a linebacker. I don't hate taking him because he's a little bit balances out Channing Tindall. I mean, Leo
Right.
Chanel's a guy who's got great size and great power and great tackling. He's just
Mhm.
not as good in space.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if we're looking at linebackers for the Cowboys, Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox can kind of cover the flats and deep halves, but if we can get someone who can kind of stay in the middle and help in run support, I mean, that would help.
He's
At
probably
this
the
point,
best
draft,
guy, like outside of like some of the elite dudes like Nakobe Dean. I
right?
think he's worth a shot. And he's got a little bit of speed. Like I've seen him like get out and make some tackles in space. I just wouldn't say it's like Channing Tindall like
Right, right.
um and I'm not like loving any Dontario Drummond's another guy. We already got Dotson, that wide
Yeah,
receiver room's
right.
kind of filling up. Uh Max Mitchell's an interesting prospect. He
Anybody
probably
on the interior defensive line that we could look at? I mean,
yeah,
we
let's check.
have we do have Osa and Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, but I mean, we need to fortify every single position at this point. I just have no confidence in really anybody.
And especially at in the trenches,
Yeah.
offensive and defensive line, like those guys get rolled up on, they get
Mhm.
hurt. Specifically, the defensive line, those guys who are 300 pounds and need breathers. So it's important to have good depth here. Nobody's jumping out at me though, unfortunately. I mean, like Farrell's just a big, big body, but dude, this guy Marquand, I don't know if you know him. This is just I'm a Kentucky fan. He's like 380.
Now, is
He's
he
just
going
like
to be
a
another Bohanna? Is it like a
He's
clone of
bigger,
Bohanna?
bro. Yeah, he's
Really?
bigger than Q
Oh my
Bohanna.
god.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's so big. Uh, I don't hate Leo Chanel here. There's just in this range, like
Yeah,
if you
it's a
didn't have
weird.
like Tony Pollard, I thought Jared Ely would be a decent get, but I mean,
Yeah.
or Max Mitchell. Have you got any film on him yet?
No, but I've
That
heard
kid
about
from
him.
yeah, like he can apparently ball out.
Yeah, and I mean we do have Josh Ball, who is the kid from Marshall from last year, who are kind of is our developmental tackle. But I mean, at offensive tackle, you can really never have too many guys. So I wouldn't hate it from what I've heard about him. But
Who would you
that's it.
prefer here, Max Mitchell or Leo Chanel? What do you think?
I'd go Chanel just because I think that replacing LVE is a bigger need than
Yeah.
finding a second
And
or third
also, dude,
string.
I don't hate. We'll pause the draft real quick. So I want to say that. Actually, you can keep it going. I don't hate just maybe looking at putting Mike at the edge. Like I think he's. You think it ever
Yeah,
will happen?
yeah. I mean, I hope it happens because I think that's his best position.
He's so
Um,
good.
he
Imagine when
was
he has time to develop those pass rush moves. He's a freak.
he's just getting started, and that's the scary part. I mean,
It's yeah,
he had
it is
like
scary.
one of the least amount of pass rushing downs, and it was like the most efficient pass rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, I
And
think
he
he had.
really doesn't have any moves. I mean, he has it, but he
He just
doesn't.
beats
He
you
hasn't
with
mastered
being
it.
I'm faster and stronger than you guys,
Yeah,
idiots, and
yeah,
then just beats him. He
right.
had 30 QB hits. It was like 20 TFLs and 13 sacks. Like holy
Yeah,
smokes! But
yeah.
he's a
And
line.
that's
He's playing linebacker a lot of the time too. It's just like it's
right.
incredible what he's doing.
Exactly. I mean, especially at edge, you don't really see rookies excel at edge. And for someone who never played edge at Penn State to go in the NFL after 1 year and just
Yeah,
dominate
it's
like that,
nuts.
it's insane. So yeah, I saw
You
I
want
saw
him?
the cross
You
from
want him?
yeah, I
You
want him
want? You
absolutely.
want him?
I
You
can't
want him?
believe I did not see him the entire time. I'm shocked he's here. I mean, I
Tell us
love
about that
him.
cross. I haven't really seen much of him.
I mean, he's like sideline to sideline guy, but he can also kind of come down in the box as well.
Yeah, he hits people.
He was a leader for Maryland. And I mean, I remember when he came out, like he's a 4-star recruit when Maryland got him, and he was like the big guy, and Maryland
Yeah.
never gets anyone big like that. So watching him play and kind of grow up as a turtle, it was awesome. So someone like that who you can get in the back end of the draft, sure up the secondary, would love that for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and he'll give you some good special teams too.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
strikes me as a special teams grind. He'll grind the special teams out.
Yeah.
if you guys didn't take him, I would have liked Greg Dulcich there at tight end from UCLA. I
Mm,
haven't seen like that much of him, but we bet a few times on UCLA earlier in the season. He was flashing, so that's
right.
kind of why I know him. Zach Tom from Wake Forest.
Fair,
There we
buddy.
go. Ends it. Let's look at this haul. This is a phenomenal. I think it's one of our better drafts we've done.
Yeah.
I'm excited about a lot of these plays. Tyler Linderbaum falling to 24. That's a phenomenal pick. He's the
Yeah.
best interior offensive lineman.
Might be the best offensive lineman in general.
Yeah, in
So,
general, just the positional value is not quite there. Jahan Dotson, I think, is also a very good pick in terms of Michael Gallup leaving, giving you a third option who's just going to be able to create separation and win, especially downfield. He did a good job. I mean, Penn State's offense was pretty much Sean Clifford closing his eyes and throwing a fly to Jahan Dotson.
right. Yeah.
He'd catch it half
That's
the
an ugly
time.
offense.
It was. I would like if you put Dotson on like an Ohio State or Alabama with like those
Oh,
other top
yeah.
wide receivers, man, he would have feasted. He did feast, but he feasted because he's the only skill guy that Sean Clifford could throw to because he sucks. Um, Channing Tindall's like my pet cat, if you will. I love his game.
Mm.
Only knock on him is he only has like 600 snaps to his name. He's just very inexperienced, but like the physical traits are there.
We can coach him up. Not worried about
Yeah,
it.
Jamar Salyer, on the other hand, has a ton of snaps under his name and is just as
Mm.
solid as they come. He's just like lacking that physical length
Mm.
and bend that you want as a tackle. Josh Pascal, dog.
Yeah.
Um,
Energy guy.
yeah, I think and again, this is going to sound weird, but like when you take like 20, 23-year-olds, give them a lot of money and a lot of free time, like you want them making good decisions. I know that was a potential problem with the Micah Parsons pick. He seemed to be fine with it. And
Right.
obviously doing fine, doing more than fine. But I mean, you're gonna have no problem with Josh Pascal. That dude, he's a football player. He's gonna be a solid locker room guy. Same thing for Leo Chanel, and then Nick Cross, your guy. I think that'd be a cool pick. I hope they get Nick Cross for you.
Yeah.
That'd be cool for him
It's
to be
always
a
fun to
Cowboy.
get like a guy from your school, like
Yeah,
it's always awesome. So, I mean, I think we pretty much hit every single box possible. Maybe tight end we could have hit at some point, but
yeah.
again, like what are you going to find in this draft class is going to make an impact year one, especially a tight end. Like what
I
edge
think it'd be
rusher?
like a Greg Dulcich, like
Yeah,
late a flyer. I wouldn't expect much of, it, but he could be very good. But I mean, that's kind of the tight end class is like meh. Like
so meh.
there's no guy that
I
really.
think in the free agency class, I think there's a couple guys. I remember looking at it a while back.
And that
So
might
it
just
wasn't
be
too
where
worried
you
about
guys go because it
it.
is kind of hard for tight ends to come in outside of like a Kyle Pitts who's just better
Yeah.
than everybody else.
I mean, he wasn't even like that amazing this year. He was great for a tight end for a rookie, but like
Yeah.
you got to let them mature a little bit.
Yep.
They take their time because you got to trust them as a blocker and as a wide receiver at the same time. So
Yeah.
you just can't trust them year one.
Yeah. Well, Noah, thank you for joining us. I think we helped the Dallas Cowboys out a lot. Obviously, Dallas Cowboy fans, let us know how we did, and we will talk to you guys later. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. Peace.